Hey guys, welcome to Wrench Warriors DIY. On today's show, we're going to show you how to rough in a basement bathroom and get it ready for sheetrock. We're going to share some stuff today that can save you hundreds, if not $1,000 or more, getting this ready for sheetrock, putting in all the plumbing that you need. So stay tuned and let's get rolling. All right, guys, if you're just getting rolling, there's a couple things you need to figure out. First off, if you haven't framed it up yet, for the toilet here, you're going to want 13 inches to the center of the toilet. This one here is 12 and a half. I usually like to go 13 to give myself a little bit of play, but you can get by with 12 and a half. So the reason why you want it that far out is when you go to set your toilet, the tank's not hitting the wall. You got a little bit of gap behind it. Now, if you've already framed up and you're less than that, that's okay, but you'll just have to get a different type of toilet with a smaller tank, called a 10-inch rough tank. So it's not the end of the world, but if you're framing it fresh and you don't know, then try and give it 12 and a half or 13 inches there. The next thing you need to do is figure out your vanity and where your sinks are on your vanity. This client here wanted a 4-foot vanity, 5-foot vanity. And so we marked that, and then they have their sinks. It's a double vanity. And so we've came in 15 inches off of each side, so we know right where to stub out our drains and our waters. This here, I don't know what state you guys are living in, but here in Utah, this is a backwater valve. And if you have one of these and it's underneath where your cabinets are going to go, make sure you document that with some pictures on your phone, because this here, there's a flap in there. And what that does is if the sewer ever backs up outside, it pushes against that flap and seals it off so that it doesn't come up in your toilet and your fixtures down in your basement. So just document that, because that will definitely be covered up by some cabinets. So we just want to know where that's at so we can access it later if we needed to. The other thing you need to do is figure out how much room you have for your tub. Most tubs are going to be 5 feet or 60 inches long. This tub here, I like to go off the center of the toilet. Okay, right here, about 16 inches off the center of the toilet, and that would give us room for a 30-inch tub. So we're going to go 60 by 30. The other thing you need to know about your tub is which hand it is. So the way you can tell that is if you're standing there looking at your tub, facing it, whatever side the drain is on, that's the hand that your tub is. So when you go to pick up your tub, we're going to need a right-handed tub that's 60 by 30. Those are the things you need to know to get going. If you're framing this up yourself, or if you're having somebody frame it for you, just make sure that you don't frame it right, like as close to 60 as you can. Maybe go 60 and a quarter, so it gives you a little bit of play to slide that tub in a little bit easier. But we're going to get rolling and show you guys how to get this done. Okay, here we go. Handy. Well, this is retake number 2 because I just called Braden here my handy worker, but that didn't sound good. So got Braden here. He's going to help us drill some holes. The plumbers that roughed in this house were nice enough to leave us a T already. So we're going to drill our arm across to pick up these 2 sinks, and then we'll run a vent back across and tie it in up here. Just make sure you mark them out, get the right height, measure twice, drill once. When you're drilling out, be sure to add a 1/4 inch per board so that you have enough grade headed back to the drain. On this job where I had to pick up 2 sinks off the same trap arm, I threw a vent in between them for proper drainage. But on your job, if you're only picking up 1 sink and your trap arm's under 5 feet, you're probably good just using the vent that's coming up already. All right guys, there's a couple different ways you can run the waters here. Luckily for us, they have it sized really good. They got 3/4 pipe feeding all the way down for us. So you can either drop 2 3/4 down the wall and then try and feed stuff across. But where they have 3/4 here, we're probably just going to tee in right there close and run lines down to each fixture. That's going to be the easiest. And we're going to show you guys how to get that done. We'll show you how to cut these tees in. Always nice to have Dean here with us. We gotta get one down for that toilet too, Dean. Okay. Probably just go down this one here.
Yeah.
Anywhere there. And then let's go down for the tub. We could probably come off that cold to the toilet and pick up the tub also.
Okay. But we'll need one for the hot.
So we're gonna need one for the hot.
Okay.
That way we're not fighting that heat duct right there.
Probably gonna come right here and make it easier for us.
Where's the nearest 3/4?
Right here.
3/4 hot? Is it 3/4 both of them?
Yeah, they're both 3/4 right here. So
yeah, bring the hot down. We'll have to angle it across.
Okay. I'm gonna go on an angle.
All right, guys, we needed to find out which one of these lines was hot so we could make sure the hots get to the right places. When we first started using PEX, it was all white, and I wish I could say that there was never a hot ran to a toilet, but when guys are hooking into white lines all the time, once in a while, you'd mess up. And now I like to use red PEX to feed the hot lines so we don't have that issue. So this one right here is definitely the warm one. Braden just went up and ran the shower upstairs. So that's our hot. We're gonna mark it with our marker. So when we're going down this wall and putting in all of our waters, we can keep track of which ones we need to hook into the hot. So Braden's trying to rep his red-eyed
Seagull.
snow goose.
Seagull.
Seagull. Oh, jeez. All right, just like always, guys. First thing you do when you're working on your plumbing, you gotta shut that water off. And then we gotta drain down the pressure. So, Ray, can you run upstairs and drain down the pressure out of the sinks, please?
Yeah.
All right, Braden went up and drained down the pressure in a sink, but there's still going to be water in these lines because we're lower than the sink upstairs. So it's always nice to have a bucket here. Hopefully the dog upstairs isn't going to mess up our video too much. But this one back here is our hot. This hole here is our hot. So we're going to line that up. Ray, do you hand me a couple 3/4 half tees with some rings? You might get a little bit wet. The nice thing about using PEX versus copper is you can crimp this stuff when it's wet. Whereas if you have copper in your house, you're definitely going to have to try and get all this moisture out so you can solder. Little Cujo upstairs. So basically I'm putting that tee in, and then I'm marking where the tee is going to come to so I know right where to cut it off. I'm not going to cut it too short. Just pop those together. And then I don't want to crimp those up yet until I get my 1/2-inch piece connected to that tee. Make sure I'm at the right angle. Where this one's close, not too bad of an angle, I can bend that PEX just a little bit. Hit my tee. These are Oetiker rings. These are the ones I like to use because then I have one tool that works with all the rings. There's different types of crimp rings out there that you can use, but these are the ones I like. Oh. When you're crimping these on whatever type of crimp ring you use, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of pipe showing past the ring. Not too much, but maybe like a 1/4 of an inch or so. Probably less than that, huh, Braid? 1/8 of an inch. Alright, so the hot's in. Probably gonna have some in there too. Got it? I think it's done, Braid. Well, good enough. You can bend this PEX, but you see that? Like, I don't like that bend. It's just too much. If it was out here, I'd do it. But where it's this close to this one, I'm gonna have Braid hand me a 90, and we'll put a 90 on this instead. So just that Braid. It's crimped. When you crimp, just make sure the fittings stay all the way in. Make sure they're not backing out on you. I'm right in the middle of filming, Cole, so don't be dropping any bombs on us. Hold that, Braid. Sometimes it's easier to crimp this fitting on before you get it up in there. If you crimp this one on first, when you have a little bit of play, it makes it a lot easier. So your last crimp is going to be the piece coming out here to your T. I got a ring braid right here. All right, so now we got a cold and a hot dropping down to the first sink. We're gonna have to do that to the second sink, the toilet, and the bathtub. But that's what it's gonna look like for all of them. All right, you're gonna want to get like about a 6 or 7 inch piece that stubs out of the sheetrock. I like to crimp them on. Crimp on the 91st. If you're using these type of rings, the Otica rings, they have the little knob that sticks out the side. I don't like having that pressed up against the wood. So where the hot's on this side, I got the little knob sticking out over here. Yes. Yep.
Am I good to drill this?
Yeah.
Talking.
The dog finally stops barking and Braden goes out the front door again. Once I got those 90s crimped on, I like to have them a little bit apart so I can put an escutcheon on at finish time and cover up the hole in the back of the cabinet. You're going to want to get some J hooks like this. Half-inch J hooks are what I'm using right now. And I like to have these things solid, so I put a couple on the piece coming out. Make sure it's coming out straight. And then you're going to want to put a couple going up, like that, and another one up there. So when the water turns on and off, it doesn't, you don't get that banging against the board like that. You stub these out, a couple plugs. Just plug those off for now. Go ahead, Cole. On your toilet, you want to come out roughly 6 inches to the left, or as close to that as you can get. And then based on what type of baseboard you're going to use, you want to be high enough that you're not right down in that. Kind of makes it a pain for the people doing your finish work if you have your water coming out of your baseboard. All right, now I'm going to show you guys how to cut in your toilet ring. This pipe here is 4-inch, which is the best to stub up on an underground, because what happens is when you cut it off, your ring will slide right inside the 4-inch pipe. Some plumbers or some houses you're going to run into 3-inch pipe there. If that's the case, hopefully they've wrapped it with a bunch of foam, because you have to slide this over the top of the 3-inch. So hopefully hopefully they wrapped it with a bunch of foam so you have some play. If not, you gotta rake a little concrete around there so that your ring can sit down in, or use a different type of ring. For this one here, I'm gonna show you, get your Sawzall, preferably with a shorter wood blade like that so you can angle it. And I just start on an angle. And I always want to have my saw like on a 45, so the pipe's getting cut on a 45. Cut it off like that. As you can see, it's kind of down in, beveled down in. Take your hammer, any chunks of concrete that are up, got to knock that down a little bit. If there's some big ones, you might want to put a rag or something down inside the pipe. All right. Then what you want to do is you want to take your glue. Cam's almost empty here. Glue up that 45 and then down into the pipe. Don't be afraid to use a good amount of glue, because you want some lube on this stuff. Then take and hold that right above the pipe, so if you get any drips, it doesn't get on your floor. and then just jump on it. Smash that down flat. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're running the drain arms, trap arms for these bathroom sinks. Where it's a double sink here, we gotta throw a vent in between them and tie it back into the main vent so they both drain the right way. If it was one, it'd be fine, but we're picking up two. We gotta do that. What I like to do is I like to lay out my fittings like this so I know exactly where everything's gonna be. To me, it's just a lot quicker doing it like this. $16 3/4, 13 1/4. Just go over the top of it, down. If you're worried about burrs, just take a knife or a reamer of some sort. Most of you guys will have knives. Just cut off this edge right here that's inside. That way there's nothing for this stuff to get hung up on when it's draining. Alright, in some states you're going to be required to use primer on your PVC. They recently, like 4 or 5 years ago, they changed it in Utah so we don't have to. If you feel more comfortable, just get some primer, throw it on there. But where this is a low pressure system, or no pressure basically, I feel pretty good about not having it on there. Go ahead and put your level on. Make sure you just got a little bit of grade. You don't want a ton, just a little bit coming out of the wall. for
I'm
the,
just gonna cut it in. I meant the sheetrock.
yeah. You're gonna like that and come straight down that other wall. Yeah, and the backwater will be before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to glue the inside of the fitting and the outside of the pipe, in case you're wondering. And then stub a little piece out of the wall that'll come through the sheetrock that we can cut off later when we're picking up the sinks. All right, now this one here is going to be our vent, and it'll go back up over and tie across into this one here. Usually a santee is going to look like this, right? But when you're putting it on a vent, you're going to turn it upside down like this. All right, now we're going to show you guys how to set this tub First thing you got to do is level your tub up. Make sure it's level. And then measure, take a measurement so you know what height you got to put your block for support. All right, now we're just sweeping under this tub where it's going to sit down. We don't want any debris under it that would cause it to rock or anything like that. So either make sure you sweep or broom or sweep or vacuum underneath it and get it ready to set. All right, we got our board cut. Cut this one 5 feet long, so span across the whole back of the tub. And we got to put a board across for support, so the back of the tub has something to lean on. That's where I took the measurement on the back of the tub, so now I'm going to mark it here. Okay, now you want to put it in your board. Don't get too carried away by throwing in too many nails or screws or whatever yet. I like to put in a couple, get the tub set, make sure that it's gonna not rock back and forth. Not a lot of play, so.
Yeah, it looks like it's touching.
Right there.
Seems good over here.
That's why you don't frame it too tight. Too hard to get in. Gotta get one side or the other braid and have it lift it up. I gotta nail that board in better. And then hold that right there, please. Cole, get us that tube of silicone and hand it to me. All right, once you get it in, you get it leveled up, you gotta go ahead and put some more nails in this board in the back. You reach it from there?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Then you want to take a little bit of silicone. Nice. Put some along this back here. Whoa. I'm going to the hole, Fred.
And he runs into the walls.
And
It's like a bulldog.
down he goes. A little bit of silicone along there so that it helps secure this stuff down. this is one of the more tricky parts of the job as far as getting it exactly how you need it, is getting this drain to match up with the how you need it for the tub. So go ahead and cut that off. And then what you need is, let me show them what we got in that bag there, Bray. This is the drain that we use most of the time. Waco 901. They come in different colors, but you got to get this piece out of it for the drain underneath. And then I like to cut a short piece, and I like to just put it together without gluing it. And then just remember, you got to have this rubber piece on the bottom of the tub under there, and I'll show you how to do that in a sec. But have somebody inside the tub that can help hold it for a second. Like I say, dry fit it together, put this rubber piece on, and then Braden's gonna hold that from the inside the tub. I'm gonna put it down in there to him. Got it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Then what you can do is you can mark. The easiest thing would probably be to mark the top of this fitting on the pipe, on this pipe. If you have the right tools, you can get this, it's called an inside cutter. Then you can put it down inside the pipe and work it down. You probably can't get all of it at once. You gotta cut it a couple different times. Yeah, I just about dropped my freaking mic down the pipe. That would have been bad.
That's awesome.
How would I get that out?
You wouldn't have?
Oh man, I better not put that back on my hat for a second. Yeah?
Yeah.
Jeez. That looks good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to line that up with the drain. Still haven't glued that piece, so don't forget. Just eyeballing it right now. And now I can go ahead and glue it together. Got that silicone handy, Braid? Is that brush nickel or chrome?
What?
Brush nickel.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I told it. I told him I needed brush or chrome. That'll work though, right?
Yes. Put some on this real quick. Here. All right, guys, I like to put a little bead of silicone around that to help seal it off. And just a little bit around that. Once I get it set right, don't start screwing it in until I move the camera. Yeah?
Yep. And you want silicone on that the drain piece.
All right, now Braden's got that piece in there, starting to thread in, and he's gonna continue to tighten that with this wrench, this tub wrench and these pliers, and I'm gonna hold the back so it doesn't spin off that fitting. Then just use a couple wet wipes to wipe up the silicone there. Should be good to go on that part. Then we still gotta come back here and run up to the overflow. As you can tell, this doesn't line up directly with this, so once in a while you gotta use some offsets. Take a measurement right here.
$17 3/8. 17 1/4. Label cut.
Yeah. Just gonna dry fit those for now. All right, now you're gonna get this piece out of the drain assembly. I like to leave the plug in it so you don't get sewer gas coming back up. Even though there's a P-trap below it, there's no water going down that P-trap right now, so. All right, now remember we dry fitted this one so we could adjust that back and forth. So now we're gonna glue that one up. Goes in, you can tighten this piece onto the front and snug that thing up. Well, that's definitely the hardest part of the whole job, is getting that drain set. down in the concrete. Now Braden's gonna put in some blocking for the valve, and Cole is gonna do some nail plating right here. Throw some nail plates on right here where it's really close, where a sheetrock screw might get in and hit our pipe. So down in here where we come across, right up there where we have some lines going through. Anywhere where you might have a sheetrock nail hitting those lines, you want to put a nail plate over the top of that. Braden here is trying to make sure that your tub spout is high enough above the lip of the tub that you're not going to have an issue putting it on.
Hit it with a nail gun.
If we have enough nails.
Probably not.
I can go around, Braden, and see if I can get it with this. See if there's a couple nails in here. Yep. We are out. All right, Braden, show them where you measured off the tub so they can get their center measurement.
So I came off this board. I got 4 1/4. Came off this board right here, 4 1/4. Put it right there. Then we want to make sure we have enough clearance, like Cody said. Throw in our screw. Screw it in. I usually just snug it up at first on the first one.
You definitely don't want to snug it up too much on the first one, because then
it's not level, the valve.
Yep. You can adjust those screws, the tightness of those screws, to make sure your valve, your tub spout's coming out straight. You don't want it too crooked coming out. You want it coming out straight, just like that, over the top of your drain. Now we're good to hook up the waters. We got to put in one more block up here for a shower head.
And we got to put the cartridge in.
You don't forget to put in the cartridge. Pull out that little plug right there. If you're using a Positemp valve like we are, a Moen Positemp, because you'll go home and the homeowner will call you and say that they're getting lukewarm water, because that will allow the water to run through and mix, and they won't get any hot water in their house. So you have to throw it in even though you're just in the rough-in stage.
And then on the cartridge, it's got hot and cold on it. And then both sides are different. One's got one flush side and the other's got the double groove. You want the double groove to be on the bottom. That's where your valve's gonna be. So we'll shove it in first, then we'll twist it back to where it'll be towards the bottom, that double groove. Sometimes you can get lucky and use your hands like that. And just shove the pin in, and then the double groove's gotta be down. See how there's two grooves? That one groove up top. That's it.
Pretty self-explanatory as far as hooking these up. Just take your time, make sure it's all put together right. So we got the valve set centered above the drain there. Braden's also marked this. The one thing you got to realize when you're putting in your dog ear, going to your shower head, is you don't want it too high. You don't want it right up here, because once they sheetrock, you won't be able to tighten on your shower arm. So you want to hold it down a little bit so you got enough room for that shower arm to spin. The other thing is just when you're putting in your blocks, when you're putting in these blocks, just make sure that they're straight so that when you tighten up this and snug it up to the board, it doesn't throw your shower arm crooked coming out of the wall. Some people like to run these all on copper. We've done that quite a bit, but if you put in boards and support it really good, then usually you're okay. Then it's good to have a blue nipple, or you can get a 1/2 inch galvanized nipple with a cap on it. Just screw that in right there. Go ahead and tighten that up. I'll need a few more nail plates before you take them out, Cole. Maybe 2. Oh, I need one more. 2 back here. Moment of truth. I think we're ready to turn the water back on. All right, guys, there you have it. That's how you rough in a basement bathroom. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. Definitely something you can do on your own. You just got to have a little common sense and be able to watch this video and help you out. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a comment. I'd love to help you out, and I'll try and get back to you. Thanks for watching.